Hello and welcome back to UE5 BP Guru. In the last episode, we set it up that we could pick up our pistol that looks like a flare gun that switches into an actual pistol, but it's fine. And what we want to do now is we want to get it that the gun starts to fire. This might be a little bit hit and miss. It might take a couple of episodes, but we'll get through it together and get it working nicely. Now, a lot of people in my previous FPS tutorial series was like, why don't you set this code up in the gun? And that's because a lot of other tutorials do this via, they set it up in the gun because they attach blueprints to the character, etc. Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with doing it that way. But for me, because I'm using skeletal meshes and no BPs for the weapons, it's going to be far easier for me to set this up in my player. But luckily I'm going to be doing this in a way that we won't have to have a bunch of setup for each weapon. We will use one weapon setup for this one, as opposed to having 4 or 5 different ones in the last series. So we've got pistol, assault rifle, shotgun, sniper rifle. Now the sniper rifle will be a little bit different because you'll want an aim down sight mode, but overall for now, it will probably use the same as the pistol and the assault rifle for the current setup. So there's one other thing we need to do, and if we go into our items and we find our weapon strap, we've currently got damage, current ammo, clip size, etc. But what we kind of need to do is we need to set it up in a way that we can get all the information we need out of it without having to run it through the BP multiple times. We just want to get the information from, let's say, this weapon's information. Now, there's a few things we want to add to this to do it. So if we go into our structure, and we're going to add, the first thing we're going to add is a float. That's the first thing we're going to be needing, and that is going to be fire interval. And the fire interval is going to basically control how fast we shoot in between. So if we hold down the shoot button, how quick are we going to fire the next bullet? So for an assault rifle, you might want it something very small, so like 0.03 or 0.04 to shoot the bullets out pretty quickly. But with a pistol, you might want that to do that every half a second. So every half a second you fire the trigger and another bullet is fired. Something like along those lines. But that's going to be our fire interval. We already have our current ammunition in the gun, so that's okay. We will need a bunch of extra stuff. Now, there is also distance. So how far our distance will we shoot our line trace, our weapon fire? So standardly I use 15,000 as a value, but for example with the sniper rifle you might want to be able to shoot that a little bit further. But again, that's all dependent on your distance, right, of how far you want this to go. You might want your shotgun to go a little bit less. So you could add in another variable called bullet distance, which would be the 1500,000. I'm going to keep it at 1500,000 for now, but obviously, again, you can change that depending on the weapon because you can set it up in each individual weapon. You also are going to want things like sounds and what kind of projectiles you're firing for each weapon, and of course things like muzzle flashes and all that sort of good stuff. So we're going to add a couple more variables. We also want some sounds in here as well. So we'll do the sounds last, I guess, but let's do bullet projectile, and that's going to be a type class, by the way. It's going to be we haven't created that projectile yet, so we need to do that as well. We also want muzzle flash was going to be another one we're going to want to use. We also want the sounds as well. So we also want pistol empty. We also want pistol firing, and these are going to be sound. So we want them to be I think sound base is the right one. We might have to change that, but I think sound base should be a good enough one to use. For the muzzle flash, that's going to be a particle system. So if we come down here to particle system, object reference, and bullet projectile, now that's something we need to create. So that'll be slightly different. Other than that, the only other things we will eventually want are things like, oh, we've got weapon damage already, so that's fine. Good. I think that should be enough for now. So once we've got all that, if we go to our pistol now, we're going to need to find that reference to our item, wherever it is. Here it is. And we need to add in those extra values. We probably want to save that as well and open up in full view. If we close and open that up. So, oh, we need to update the master. That's what we need to do. So open up the master, compile, so that we get our extra values there. And if we then go into our pistol, we now have them in here. So the bullet projectile distance will be 15. Oh, sorry. What have I gone wrong here? I haven't added something in, have I? I've got the projectile. Oh, I didn't add in the bullet distance, right? It's not necessarily needed for my setup, but it might be for yours. So let's just go ahead and do it so it's correct. Right, bullet distance. There we go. Done. We can save that, compile the master, and all the others should now have them in here. So the projectile, that will need to change to something else. So let's go ahead and do that now. So if we go into our weapons, I may have already made one. I'm not entirely sure. I think I'm using this one. That's good. And I will take this. Oh, we also need a second BP to be used as well. So we'll create that as well in a moment. So bullet ammo, we're going to create, or asset actions, create blueprint using this. Save it in the same location so that you know where it is. And oh, it already exists. Did I create it, and have I still got it? We'll asset actions, create blueprint, and we'll do this now in the third person. We'll just do it in here for now. I'll tidy everything up later. Empty bullet. We'll call it bullet casing BP for this one, and this is going to be the empty casing that fires out of the weapon. Okay, so let's do that. Let's grab the static mesh, and we might have to do it with this maybe. Why can't I rotate you? Okay, can't rotate you. Fine. It'll have to come out like that for now. It's fine. It's okay. We'll get it working at some point or not. It's okay. Right. So we have our bullet casing. So, oh God, I'm sorry. Right, bullet casing. We have one of those. Now we need to go in here, go to FX, and we should have a pistol tracer. There it is. We're going to right click, and we're going to create a blueprint using this as well. We'll save it in the third person file here again, and we'll call this pistol fire BP. That should be fine. Right. And then if we go in here, we should be able to see it. There it is. Hopefully it's facing the right location, because I can't rotate it. So hopefully we'll just have to pray. I can't see it anymore. These things, using particle systems in here, are always a little bit funny. So just bear that in mind. Okay. Oh, there it is. You can see it now. There it is. Right. There it is. That's going to come out of the pistol, fire to the location we want it to. I think it's because it's playing the particle system, right? So we've got our two things we're going to need. So if we go back into our weapon strap, we're going to add one more variable, bring it up to here. We got the projectile, and we got the bullet casing, and these need to be class references. So let's find the pistol. If I could spell pistol. A lot of things going wrong in this video, so I do apologize. For the projectile, we need, let's try bullet casing. There we go. We need it to be the class reference. Same for the projectile. So pistol. I called mine pistol fire. Get the class reference, and you probably have already seen the issue I'm going to have with this one at the moment, because the problem we're going to have is that this is going to be the pistol projectile for every weapon. I have a workaround in mind for this already. There's a very simple workaround. So we're going to delete those two out for now. We're not going to use those. So that was a little bit of a waste of time, but we still needed to make the BPs, so that's okay. Let's go now into our... If we now compile that, those should be gone. Yep. And then if we come into here, we want a pistol muzzle flash, like that, and we need some sound. So if we put in pistol, I don't think I had a eject sound or an empty sound, so I think I just used that one. And then for the pistol firing, we'll do pistol, and we want to do this. That'll do, works nicely. You could do it that you have a cue that randomizes and you have like 10 different pistol sounds, so it sounds a bit different every time you fire. But for this, for what we're doing now, it's absolutely fine. So we can close down our weapon strut, we can close down our pistol BP now, and we can close down the master item, and we should be just left with now our third person character. So I will show you in a moment what I plan to do for the weapon to make those fire mechanics a little bit different. But for now, let's get started with actually creating some code. So we need two custom events. One is going to be called weapon fire, and the other one is going to be called another custom event called weapon. If I zoom in a bit, that would help. Weapon stop or stow, whatever works for you, whatever naming convention works for you. Okay, the first thing we're going to want to do is a sequence, just like this, and you'll understand hopefully why. We need a gate function, or node, I should say, even gate node. Where is it? Oh, I put in game gate. There it is. Okay, so gate goes in here, gate goes in there. So what's happening is the sequence comes in, it opens up the gate, and then it comes out to do a second sequence. The first sequence goes into a delay. This is going to be our interval, our bullet interval. This then comes back out. I'm going to do a reroute node so I don't lose the line. And it goes into the enter, so it re-enters again. So this opens the gate. This then enters the gate and runs the code, and it's going to repeat through that enter. Because what's going to happen is when we let go of the button, our weapon stop is going to close it. So every time we come in here, we need to run and open the gate so that we can keep firing this. But when we stop firing, we want to stop and close the gate. So that's why we have this first sequence. And then the second sequence is running through the loop, coming back through, and then honoring the code that we want afterwards. So this is set to 0.2 at the minute, but it's not going to matter because every weapon is going to be different. It's going to have its own rate of fire that will run through that delay. And to set that up, we just need to get our equipped item, break it, to get the information. Now the only thing we need for this is our weapon information. We don't need to know quantities or the name of the weapon, any of that stuff. We just need that weapon info. And if we break that again, we can get all that juicy information we just set up. And the first thing we're going to do is enter in our fire interval, like so. I will probably copy and paste a few of these so that we can grab this information as and when we need it. So that should now run every time, depending on what that fire interval is. The next thing we need to do is check to see if we have enough ammunition. So this, we'll copy and paste this down here, so keep it nice and neat, so there's no strayed wires or anything going everywhere. We need to check what our weapon current ammo is, and we need to know if it's equal to, less or equal to 0. It should never be less, but it's more just a failsafe in case we go into the minuses. And what we're doing is we're checking to see if we have enough ammo to fire. Now, if we don't, we need to play a sound. Play 2D sound. And the reason we're playing a 2D sound is because we want that sound that is to play at the player's location. We just want them to know. It's only for the player to know. So we can run that just from the player. And that will play our ammo empty. I should have put weapon empty sound will play there. And then if it's successful and we do have some ammunition, we want to do a line by channel. Great. So if we have the ammunition, we're going to do a line trace. Now, there's a couple of options you have here. It's a lot nicer if you run it from the muzzle. However, we are going to run it from the camera for now. Because, and the reason is, I'll show you the reason why, is because when we press play, we run over to pick up our weapon. You'll see an issue we have with our aim down sights at the moment. If we equip this and we aim up, you'll see my my aim is way off. Now, if I run it from the muzzle, it's going to be ending up somewhere downwards because it's going to find the forward location of our muzzle. So wherever we aim is going to be off. I could just remove the HUD icon, to be honest, and you could probably still get a decent return from that. But it's not so bad if you're just aiming around here. But obviously, if you start looking up and you're aiming at flying enemies, it's just not correct. So we need to fix that. But so for now, what we're going to do is we're going to get our camera. This is just for now. We'll amend this. Get world location. And we're going to get forward vector. The world location goes into an add, which also goes, so the world location also goes into the start, and we get this to the end. But we need to add this to something, which is going to be our world forward vector. But we need to multiply this with how far we want that to go. So if we right click on the bottom pin of this multiply and change it to a single float vector and plug this in, we now also need to determine, oh god, it's gone back, 1 second. We need to now determine what that multiplication is going to be. Well, that's going to be whatever our bullet distance is going to be. That's how far we want our bullets to travel. Now, the higher the number, the higher they will travel. 1500 works really nicely for things like pistols and machine guns. Shotguns, you might want a little bit less. So you might want like half. You might want like maybe 10,000. If you want a sniper rifle, you might be looking at the sort of mid 20,000s to maybe 30,000 in length to get that little bit of extra distance, especially if you end up adding in sniper rifle kind of scopes and things like that. So now we need to do a couple of things here. We need to break this hit result because this will determine what we're hitting. And we also need to do a branch here. And we want to get that return value. So whether it's true or false, we hit something. And we just kind of almost want to override that with this branch by spawning an actor. And this actor, the first actor we're going to spawn is going to be the first BP we need to determine, which is going to be the bullet casing. And to get that, what we're going to do, now this is going to look a little bit messy, but we're going to run this into this weapon, custom weapon. So plug it into here, drag this down a little bit, and like so, and plug this into the class. And we'll call this bullet casing. Like so. And then we need to work out how it's going to spawn. Now, if we open, we're going to have to reopen our bullet casing because there's a little bit of something we didn't add in. And that is going to be, wherever it is, where is it? It's in our third person. There it is. There we go. Okay. I'm making a lot of mistakes today. It's all fine. So after begin play, we want to set time, or maybe it's just called lifetime. Set lifespan, that's what I'm looking for. And we want to set it to about 2 seconds. And that's all we kind of need to do for this. And in here, we just now need to get our item. Get this item. And we want to... oh, because this is the strut. My apologies. Right, what we actually want to do is get this item slot up here. That's what I was looking for. That's why I was confused. Get socket location. And we also want to get socket rotation. And we need to find where we want to kind of spawn this. Make transform. That goes into location. That goes into the rotation. This can be kind of dragged down here a little bit just to kind of make it look a little bit neater than it actually is. Bring that up there. Okay. I know this isn't the neatest, so I apologize. What we need to do now is open up the weapon that it's going to be spawning from. And now all of these weapons from this pack should have the same name for everything. So we could just grab any one of them. It shouldn't matter, but let's grab the pistol anyway, because that's what we're working with first. And every weapon should have, if you go to the skeleton tree, an ammo eject and a muzzle flash. Now, if your skeletal mesh does not have that, you need to give every one of the weapons the same thing, because it's going to spawn from that location. And to add something like that, you right click, add a socket, and give it the same name. So for this one, it's ammo eject. That's what we're working with. So grab, rename it, copy and paste that name, and paste it into here. Now, every weapon, as long as it has exactly the same name, spelt exactly the same way, ammo eject, it should all spawn from that location you give it on that weapon. You can move it around, find a place you want the shell to spawn, but that's how you do this. Now I'm going to save this because we've done a lot of work, and if we lose it, if it crashes or whatever like that, which Unreal does have a tendency to do, we'll lose it. So I'm saving. I advise you all do the same thing. Now we want to get get static mesh. Just get me a mesh, any kind of mesh. What's the mesh called? Static mesh? No. What is it called? It is called static mesh. Why are we not getting the static mesh? Get static. Get mesh, maybe? Why is it not? Oh, I understand why it's doing it. Okay, fine. I understand. I do understand. The reason is, right. Get, just call it weapon fire? Weapon fire, there we go. Okay. Put that into there, and the bullet casing will be our pistol. BP? No. Okay, bullet casing? There we go. Bullet casing. Can I do it now if I compile? Get the static mesh. Okay, it won't let me do it with this plugged into there. That's fine for a moment. Bullet casing. Right. Static mesh. So we may not be able to do multiple types of casings at the moment. It might be okay once I replug this back in. It was just having a funny 5 moments, maybe. Yeah, no, it won't let me do it. So we're going to have to use the same bullet casing for this at the moment. Just for now. Get rid of that. Get static. Why are you being so difficult, Unreal, today? It's probably me, but why is it being difficult? Right, static mesh. Let's get the static mesh. There it is. And we want to add impulse. There we go. And we can set this to 5 on the Y, and it should, in theory, work. So, if we compile that now, I'm also going to save again. Save all. And we're just going to test to see if that spawns us a lovely... And it's crashed. Of course it has. It's crashed. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back in. Hopefully it won't crash this time. And we should be able to test. Don't crash. Don't crash. Open. Don't crash. Okay, cool. Got everything back up and running. Right, press play. Okay, so we're in game. We should be able to see the projectiles spawn. Oh, they. I know why that is. I know why this is. So there's 2 very good reasons why that didn't that happened like that. So first things first, we need to on release here. We need to do the weapon stop. That's because the gate opened and it just never stopped. So weapon stop should be fine. Weapon stop, weapon stop. That looks good. Compile that. So that should now stop the fire of that. And in the casing, if we click on the static mesh, we should come down on the right hand side and simulate physics. We could also do on the static mesh, if we do on hit, on component hit, we could play a sound. Play sound. And if you also do a do once, just so that it doesn't play it every time it hits something, otherwise it's going to sound very crazy. We could just do bullet. Do we have bullet? Nope. Let's just pick anything. Well, I don't know what that was, but it's fine. It'll work, right? So now if we go back onto it, we should, in theory, have our weapon firing out some bullets. It spawned like 4 of them, but that's fine. Oh! Oh my God. What is happening? Ah! I think that's because if we go into here, the weapon interval on the pistol is probably like 0, right? I'm guessing that's the problem. So don't forget to set your weapons up correctly, unlike me, because that will cause you issues. Yeah, fire interval is 0. Let's do it to like 0.5 maybe. I think that's a good speed for the pistol. Compile that. Let's try it again, and that should be done. Don't crash, don't crash, don't crash. There we go. Oh, I don't think it's happy. What's going on? There we go. Okay. There you go. 1, 2, and every half a second it carries on firing. And you can see the little casings hit the floor. It's not the best sound. I don't even know what sound I picked, to be honest. But if you had a good, like, kind of clanging sound when it hits the ground or something like that, that would work really nicely. So I'm going to end it here. So we've basically got the first half of our weapon sorted. I don't like the weapon clip coming out where my hand is, so I'm going to change that to -5. But yeah, basically we've got that sort of set up. Oh, it's yeah, -5 it, -5, like so. Compile. So yeah, we've got the weapon. We technically are shooting now, but we're just not shooting anything, and we're not losing any ammo or anything like that. So in the next episode, all we've got left to do now for the second half of this, it's still coming out the same way. Oh, you can hear the sound now. It's hitting the thing. So that's fine. Basically, we've got the weapon firing, technically. It's just a case of we need to get it to actually shoot a projectile and, of course, hit something. Which you'll be able to see all that in the next episode. We also need it to remove 1 ammo, and eventually we need it to do damage to enemies. So in the next episode, we're going to be kind of finishing off this pistol animations. I mean, essentially, it's all the weapons done, because you could just now create an assault rifle and change the details, and it will work exactly the same. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it's gone so far. Let me know in the comments if you want me to change anything, or add anything, if there's anything you guys would like me to do. Yeah, fingers crossed. I'm actually going to get the next episode out this week as well, so you won't be waiting too long to finish this pistol. I don't really want to leave people waiting too much longer. I think this episode was like 10 days, so yeah, we're going to keep it nice and short and sweet. So the wait, that is. So hopefully we can get some stuff going. But thank you so much, guys, for watching. If you've enjoyed this episode, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe if you're not already subscribed. It's free to do. You can always change your mind down the line, and I'll see you in the next episode. Much love. Take care. Bye.